Howdy, howdy. Welcome to Calm Confident Woman. This is Regina. And today is the kickoff for our little July mini series about self love. And we're using a fun theme, using nostalgic songs from the 70s as our weekly theme. So the whole series is around um, don't stop believing. So don't stop believing in yourself and don't stop believing that you are worth loving yourself. So, a quick little story here to kick us off. And I think most of us can relate to this. And that has been the internal stories about not being good enough, not being good enough to be able to teach a class, not being good enough to learn how to defend myself, not being good enough to be loved by someone else simply because I didn't look like what I felt like society had always ingrained in me was an acceptable appearance. So these were all what we refer to in the world of yoga as samskaras. Samskaras are just these old beliefs that have created grooves in our minds and in our brains, and we can replace those stories. We can change those grooves and create new pathways for the brain to connect. And that would be by being curious about the thoughts, about the beliefs that we are holding on to. And so I've done this, and I'm sure you've done this as well. But sometimes we just need to be gently reminded that we need to continue this development and to continue to be curious about what belief we have going on in our mind and asking questions. Maybe they seem like silly questions, but they can actually be very sacred questions. And that is, why do I believe this? Who said this was true? Is this true? Can I create a new reality for myself? These are the kind of questions that when we show up for ourselves with curiosity, will start coming to the surface, will start coming forward, and we can use them to create new pathways in our minds so that when we're in any kind of setting, any environment. So for me, teaching a class, speaking in front of a group, learning something new, I can ask myself, is this true? Am I not able to learn this? Or maybe a better way of putting it is, it's not that I can't. Am I willing to learn this? Am I curious enough to want to go through the process and put in the effort to learn something new and to create a new pathway for my mind, right? So it's not that we can't, it's that sometimes we just choose to stay stuck in that old groove instead of putting in the effort to create a new pathway. And so I do want to encourage you to be curious throughout this week and to notice when you have a thought come up that is ingrained and that you just default to, and ask yourself, is this true? Is this my thought? Is this my belief? Or am I just holding on to someone else's old belief? Did I borrow this from someone else and then just kind of keep it and make it my own? Maybe there was a point in time in which you borrowed something from someone, a shirt from a sister, or, a bowl from a friend who gave you something in the bowl, and it just got stuck away somewhere and just forgotten. You borrowed it, never intending to keep it, but it's still there. Maybe some of our thoughts and our beliefs are the same way. And maybe it's time to say, did I borrow this from someone? Maybe it's time to let it go. So I just want to encourage you to let self love show up for you again and again today. Remember, self love's not a final destination. It's not like, okay, I did this breath work, I did this yoga practice, I did this self defense course, or I did whatever it is that you did in the under the umbrella of self love, and you moved on, and we all do. But it's not a one and done. We want to continue to show up for ourselves with curiosity and with love, with kindness, so that we can continue to move beyond those samskaras and really blossom into and thrive in this second act of our lives. Just because we've held on to a thought process or a belief, or we've done something the same way for the last 50, 55, 60 years, whatever it is, doesn't mean we can't replace it with something that's healthier. So I do want to encourage you to turn to yourself each day, not just once this week, but each day. Take that pause, be kind, even if it's first thing in the morning when you have bedhead and bad breath. Right? Be kind and turn in toward yourself. And then after you've had that pause of curiosity, grab a journal. And you can use the journal pages included in this little mini series, or you might have your own journal, whatever you want to do for that. And then write down some curiosity questions. Here are a couple that might get you started. Why do I believe that? Who said it was true? Is this, have I proven this to be true? Is there some other curious question that you can come up with that will help you to differentiate the path you've been on as fact or fiction? So just ask the questions that help you to differentiate, is this the facts or is this fiction? Am I believing this because it's a groove that I've been in? Or is it time to replace this thought and create a new groove in our minds? We will always have those samskaras. We just want them to serve us in a healthy way. And we get to choose and we get to change those samskaras. So, yeah, so that's what I have for you today. Just a quick little video, and I'll put this in our email for the mini series. And send me your comments, your questions, what's going on in your mind with your curiosity questions, and if there's something else that you'd like me to address during this little mini series on self-love. Okay? All right, I'll see you soon. Oh, and this week's song is, let me tell you real fast. Love the one you're with. So and that comes from Stephen Stills. So in the song, it says, if you can't love love the one you're with, if you can't be with the one you want to be with, then just love the one that you are with. And I've always kind of had a little about that song. However, in this instance, the one we're with is ourselves. So just love the one you're with, right? You don't have to be anybody else. Just love yourself. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.